Good afternoon, Coldwell Banker Group 1 Realty fellow agents. This is the first of what we're going to call a weekly tip from the top. You're going to get a 3 to 4 minute video every week. Might be from me, Paula, Joel, maybe Sabrina on technology, Dwayne Sutton on flipping. But we're going to try to send you a little video once a week, just 2 to 5 minutes, a short video on something we think that would be of interest to you. And we are having a listing contest going on right now. I'm going to take about 3 minutes and summarize to you the different ways of getting buyers and sellers. Now, if you've been to my boot camp, which we've done several of them now, then we've gone through each one of these in depth. But getting buyers and sellers has not changed in 40 years. I've researched, I've checked, I've talked to the top gurus around the country. It has not changed in 40 years. The internet lead generation has added one more source of getting business, but internet lead generation is not the answer. I've talked to the top gurus in the nation. It is not the answer. It's just one more source, one more way of getting business. What we do know is 80% of all business, over 80% of all business from every realtor in the United States comes from repeat and referral business. Your personal contacts. Real estate is touches, meeting people, talking to people. It is relationships. If you're not talking to somebody, then you're not doing business. Get out in certain situations. I was in Dallas this weekend in a racquetball tournament and started talking to people, and I asked one guy, well, what do you do for a living? He says, I'm in real estate. And I thought, gee whiz. So we started talking. He is now sending us referrals because I asked him, what do you do for a living? So real estate is relationships, talking to people, repeat referral. But let me just summarize the top 4 ways throughout the United States. You ask any top agent, and it's going to come down to these top 4 ways of how they get business. Number 1 is your sphere of influence. Now we can spend a whole session on that. I'll do another tip from the top on your sphere of influence. Just accept the fact that if you're not making a list of everybody you sold to, if you're not making a list of everybody that has confidence in you, that if they were to buy or sell, would use you. If you're not making a list, you're not putting them in a database, and you're not sending something out at least every 3 months, ideally every month, but at least every 3 months. If you're not doing that, then accept the fact every 2 sales that you have, you're going to lose one of them to somebody else, to somebody that is tracking them, that is keeping up with them. That is proven by every top trainer throughout the world, okay, your sphere of influence. So if you're not keeping up with your sphere of influence, then accept the fact that you're doing half of what you should be doing right now. Number 2, open houses, okay? A couple hours every Sunday. Some of you hate open houses. Some of you will never do one. Some of you have made a very good living on open houses. Sometimes you get 0 people coming through. Sometimes you get 30 or 40 people coming through. We can do a whole thing on open houses. Paula has a nice little some documents on what to do at open houses, but open houses is a fantastic way of getting business. For sell-by owners, over 80% of all for sell-by owners end up listing with a realtor. They're not going to list with you unless you ask them. Now, you may not want to call and cold call and knock on doors, but there are simple ways of getting for sell-by owners. Have your listing presentation, mail it to them, overnight it to them, walk up, knock on the door and say, look, I'm Darryl Beasley with ABC Realtor. I know you don't want to list. I understand that. Let me just give you this information. And if you do elect to list, I would be honored to interview for the job. I'll tell you what I think it's worth. And there's a little trick or two to that got me many listings back in my day for sub owners. And then the 4th thing is expired listings. Unfortunately, I think there's very few in our company that are going after expired listings. When your listing expires, you know there's probably 10, 20 agents in Northeast Louisiana, the second it expires, calling your expires. Now, is that right or wrong? I think it's right, okay? Now, if it's a Coldwell Banker listing, then we have a policy that you do not call a Coldwell Banker expired without calling the Coldwell Banker agent in respect to each other. But if it's somebody else's listing, it's expired, you have been warned 7 times every day on the MLS that it's expiring, okay? If you haven't heeded to that over 7 days, then maybe you deserve to lose that listing, but accept the fact that somebody else is going after that listing. There's nothing wrong with making some phone calls, contacts, knocking on doors, using the same listing presentation. Ma'am, I notice your listing has expired. Now, I understand you may have already relisted or may be relisting with that same person, and I understand that, but there's some reason I hadn't sold during this period of time, and if you would allow me to, I would love to have the chance to interview for to list it. But there's 4 simple ways of doing it. Let me wrap up with the fact that if you're not doing something, it's not going to come to you. You come to the office, you sit around, you've got to do something. You've got to be proactive at getting listings. If you do only one thing, and you don't want to do any of these, then my suggestion is what we call the hour of power. To come in, dedicate yourself 1 hour a week, just 1 hour a week, to sit down and say, I'm not going to text, I want to make phone calls for 1 hour. I don't care who you call. Call your friends, your family, go down to your phone list, call your past customers. Hey Bill, it's been a year or so since I sold you that house. Just thought I'd check with you, make sure everything's okay. Hey, give me a call if I can help in any way. You know anybody looking at buying or selling or anything? Call anybody, okay? Call for an hour, something will happen, okay? And if you don't want to do that, let me prove it to you. Sit down, make 10 phone calls, just 10 phone calls. Commit yourself to sit down and make 10 phone calls to whomever, and let them know, hey, you know, I'm in real estate now. If you're new, hey Bill, I didn't know if you knew or not, but I'm now in real estate with Coldwell Group on Realty. If you have any questions about real estate at all, if you're just nosy about something, just give me a call, okay? Just want you to know that, okay? Go out and get some buyers, get more sellers, and next week we'll have another good tip from the top.